Hello and welcome to episode 7 of Tundra Terror. I'm Apocrypha from APOC Industries, and today we are gonna get our grain science set up because we are running out of things to research with red science. Bullet shooting speed, sure, why not? We should be able to do this very easily. I double checked some of the ratios before starting today. So ultimately what we really need for green science is one assembler to build transport belts, one assembler to build inserters, one assembler to build green circuits, and one assembler to build copper cables. That's only 4 assemblers, and then, however many of these we need, 3 of these actually producing the science. Should be pretty straightforward. So with that in mind, what is it that we're doing? I still need to think about how we are actually going to get these things set up. So we are going to have our gears coming in this way. So ideally the things that take gears should be lined up along here. So like, let's say that, oh, you're gonna need, you're gonna need iron as well, aren't you? Maybe we can just dump some iron in right here. If we do this, these guys need iron too. It might not be so simple, but we'll figure it out. We have gears kind of coming this way. Gears can be grabbed here, they can be grabbed here. We can do the iron in here. All a set of belts too. I'll just run and grab some of those belts. Gears. Oh, that doesn't take very long to research at all, does it? Let's get nanobot speed in the meantime. That'll take a while. Okay, so gears are going to be coming through here. Iron is going to be coming through here, and that'll be picked up by those. We'll actually do it a little bit like this so that we can pass both of these out into our actual production things. What am I saying? No, we want them on the other side. We want them on the other side because then we can more easily do this and join it up. So these are going to be what actually makes our green science. We're going to output this is going to be a single belt with transport belts and with inserters on it. I'm going to make a few more of these. So yeah, we've got gears coming in, gears coming in. We both also need iron. Iron is coming in from here. And then the last thing that we need is that needs electronic circuits. And for electronic circuits, do they need iron? They do, iron and copper plates. So we might actually be able, I wonder if we can pull, I know I've tried to do shenanigans before like this, but we might be able to actually pull it off with the electronic circuits, because then we can pull an iron in here. We can't quite direct insert unless we do something silly like this. Well, let's do it silly. That's fine. And then that's getting iron. We need an assembler to make the copper cable, which will be here, and then a bunch of rocks in the way. We also are going to have to obviously power all this stuff, but that'll be pretty easy too. Yeah, so we'll have our copper come in through here. Half tempted to rearrange this, but it's fine. So our copper is going to come in through here, and that'll go copper into copper wire into the electronic circuits, iron plates coming in here. So that means the electronic circuits coming in here, gears are coming in through here, iron is coming in through here, both outputting onto this belt. This is going to go on that side of the belt, this is going to go on that side of the belt, and all these are going to get the things they need, and that's going to spit stuff out over here, and we should be good to go. So we are going to hook up our copper like this, and jump over our little splitter here. Oh, and that reminds me, we do want all of these splitters to be prioritizing the lanes that they are that are leading down into the production stuff. Okay, so let's see how we can power this. That looks okay. That looks okay. Slap on here, here, and here. That should power everything. Here we go. We are now making green science. Let's get some lights. And yeah, I'm going to put a light here just as a warning. There is something to run into here when you have a car. Awesome. So that should be producing about one every couple of seconds, which is exactly what we were looking for. Now, for our first red-green science, I always go for tool belt first. What tool belt does is allows me to have a second row of stuff down here in my tool belt, which makes it a lot easier to deal with. You know, like I can put my turrets and ammo and my eventual car and all that kind of stuff down there. And this is not too bad. It's not super compact, but it works. Great. Well, in the meantime, while that tool belt is researching, why don't we set up a steel smelting line? Steel smelting basically works very similarly to how these other types of smelting work, except that steel is smelted from iron plates. So what we actually need to do is take a furnace that's outputting iron and have that output into another furnace that'll output steel. So the steel smelter ends up looking a little bit different than these do. The top bit of it will look kind of similar though. I was originally going to put it here, but I inadvertently built a road there. So we are not going to go over the road. We are going to grab some more stones so that I can maintain the proper pattern here. That looks kind of cute. Because then we don't have any more undergrounds either. A lot of stuff. So this will kind of come here, then go like this, then like this. And that will, yeah, like this. So what'll happen now is we have something that looks like this. Great. So this will be kind of our baseline. We'll feel good about this. What's going on? We'll move this one more down because then it'll match up what's going on here. Yeah, like this instead. It's all of, oh no, I put it in the wrong spot. It's all about looking good. Well, it's mostly about being functional, but also about looking good. So, sorry, we're not actually going to be having that much steel. Holy jumpins. Okay, so let's get some of this in here. The steel smelter is going to be quite a bit wider than our other smelter. I have a particular style that I like to use for my steel smelters. It's not a style that everybody likes to use, but it's one that I like. Because the trick is that not only do we need to pass our iron plates into another row of smelters, we also need to, or another row of furnaces, we also need to provide coal to that inner line of furnaces as well. So that makes things a little bit more challenging. This is where we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then so this here is going to be the row where we are smelting our iron. This is where we're going to be smelting our steel. So we're going to have an output row that's going to go onto our bus for some other stuff. That's going to be where our steel comes out, but we also need to be able to pull some coal into into the other furnaces. Maybe I'll just show you this. This will be a lot simpler to explain like this. Okay, so we have our iron is going to come in through here. We're going to set up another. We'll bump up our iron mining and split some off in here. But anyway, this is going to come in here. Our iron is going to go like this, the same way that our coal had before. So this will all look very similar to the smelters that we have already. The coal will come through here and get split evenly there and along the other side. Great, tool belt is finished. Next one we're going to do is circuit network so that we can start wiring things up if we need to. Anyway, these here are going to get coal easily out of this line. The problem is that they'll also need to get coal from somewhere else for the inner furnaces because they can't grab from way out there. That's too far away. We're going to have a second row of furnaces, kind of like we do for our other smelters as well. And because we're on snow, we are going to make it nicer to walk on. Lots of bricks. No, don't need to open that up. Oops. You've gone too far! Okay. Yeah, so this is going to come down the same way that it did for you know, all of our other smelters. Come on, there we go. And these are all going to be the same because we are taking from the iron ore and coal and putting them into our iron smelting line. Then those are all going to be put into the center here. And in order to get coal into here, we are going to be pulling off of this line. And the coal for there is going to be coming from over here. We can just put the whole side of coal in there, but I like to just use a half because it doesn't use up the full belt. You know what? Whatever. It's fine. We can just do that. So now that's fine for that. The problem is going to be how do we get coal into these places? Well, that's where long-handled inserters come in handy because, oops, I like to line them up. We can pull from this belt 2 tiles away into our furnaces which are going to be cooking the steel. Then we kind of do the opposite when we want to output everything. Just like this. The one last problem that we're going to run into, because we are very early game and we don't have medium power poles, is that our power poles are not actually going to be able to power all this. I'll have to actually make some more power poles too. I'll show you what I mean. So using our kind of what I would say standard wiring pattern here, we get these wired up, get these wired up, and get these and these wired up. But then in order to get the, okay, let's get some actual power in here so that it is more clear. I don't want that in the middle of the road. We'll do this. Okay, so and we're going to get some lights in here too, because that way we can see better. We'll worry about our science in a sec. So we need to be able to power all of these inserters and all of these inserters, and we can do all that with a single small pole, but only if it's on top of these belts. So what I usually do, and this is not the most efficient way of doing it by any stretch of the imagination, the way that I usually handle this is by slapping power poles in the middle like this, because these furnaces can still output directly onto an underground belt, and so our output line is just going to be filled up with useful stuff. What is not so useful, however, is the fact that I missed with placing these poles. Whoops. Oh, no, that's fine. It's just this one pole here. And it would be one here. So there we go. The only thing that this smelter is now missing is some input ingredients. How are we doing for miners? Do we have any at all? I don't think that we do. Well, we don't want to be making green circuits. We make those somewhere else. Speaking of science, so the next science that we are going to grab is going to be probably, well, we haven't been seeing many biters, so I think it'll be all right. We're going to grab advanced material processing. This will give us access to steel furnaces. They have a much higher crafting speed than regular furnaces, and they'll allow us to take our very, very small smelters and just make them faster so that we can stretch them for longer. Because you'll notice that these are, like, we are using up resources. But yeah, what was I saying? We are going to get some input for mining. Gonna build a bit more down here. Try and bring up 2 yellow belts rather than just the one. This isn't even a full yellow belt. This is, what is this? 12. I think that's actually a couple short of a full yellow belt. But in any event, we are going to go boop, 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 boop. Okay, there we go. And this, we will join these up like this. Whoops. And obviously we still need to be able to power all these things. That's important. And here. So this should be enough iron to, well, I mean, assuming that I have a bell before. This should be enough iron to fill both of our iron furnaces and our steel furnaces. We just need to run all this up. And from here, we are just, we'll make sure that they're even and then split this off like that. And then do this. So then this means that we'll basically have, oh, now we're getting attacked. So this means that the biters are probably being touched by our pollution somewhere up here. That is something that we are definitely going to have to take care of. But in the meantime, we've got a bunch of iron coming in. We are actually going to prioritize this splitter here, output on the left primarily, so that we are always filling up our iron line first, because iron is going to be what we're using the most of. And now we can see our steel smelter in action. The iron ore is coming from the outer belts going into our first line of furnaces. The second line of furnaces are being filled up with those iron plates and being smelted into steel, which are outputting onto this belt, which is then eventually going to make its way up over here once we actually have enough undergrounds for it. I don't really have a clean way of doing this, do I? I'll do it like this instead. Like this. Okay, and one of the things that we will get set up next time is our power poles, like our medium and large power poles, and we'll get some steel furnaces set up. We could potentially also look at setting up some concrete, which is even faster to walk on. But we also need to start worrying about our biters. But we got our steel set up, we got our green science set up, and let's just kick off another science while we're waiting. Do bullet damage, because that will be helpful soon, I think. So yeah, that'll do us for today. Thanks for watching. We will see you next time.